I'm still in it.
Like during those hospitals.
Maybe we just talked about dropping it.
You still do internal medicine.
Are you already?
Jesse's going to be.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got By way of information, we're going to start this probably 2 minutes late. We're waiting for Councilman Corden, so we'll start this at hopefully before 4:05.
Maybe we should put the typicals too. Super easy.
Do you have another folder?
Yeah. I see a picture of it. Culture clinic. Try to talk to them.
No, we're gonna be with it.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone out to this December 4th airport board meeting. So before we begin, there's a couple things I think I'll throw on this. Is one, in our kind of our culture of our board meeting is as we've discussed agenda items, we have turned things over, and there's been attendees that have made comments. There are times when that's appropriate and when that's not. So we're going to follow more of a structure, I guess, of how City Council will do certain agenda items where certain things can be open up for discussion after we review them, seek input, and then there are some items that we are not going to allow that. So with that, as always, we'll start out with public comment. If you have anything you'd like to add, we will additionally open up to kind of a public hearing for item 4. So if your public comment has anything to do with item number 4, you can hold that until that item, and that would be appropriate. If it's not regarding item 4 and it has something to do with something else, we'll go into that, but we're not going to open up public comment for items 1, 2, or 3. So if that makes sense on how that goes. So we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order and open up to public comment. Okay. If there are none, we'll go on to item number 1, a review of the minutes for the November 6th meeting. Do we have a motion to accept those minutes?
On the minutes.
A motion from Claire Anderson,
Second?
second by Stacy Beck. Those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Those opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, item number 2, we have a business license request from Revere Health AME Troy Lunsford. Troy, are you here? Yeah, if you'd come up to the mic there. And we actually have received your packet as well as Rocky's.
All right.
If you want to just actually give us an overview of it and what your intent is.
I'm Troy Lunsford. I currently practice internal medicine in Salem, just that big building out in the middle of nowhere there. So I used to be here in Spanish too, but I'm a pilot, but I'm also, I started doing aviation physicals. So pilots need physicals. Most of you probably know that. It's a safety thing. And so kind of on the side, I've started doing physicals, and I want to do it at the airport with the growth there. I think there's a big need, especially in our community. I think there's not too many full-time AMEs down here, and so I'll be hopefully available enough to meet the needs that are coming with all of the new students and some of the chronic long-termers. And so I'll be in the Patey Aviation hangar area. I guess it was called a business park. I'm not sure if it's still a business park, but I originally got in there. I signed up like 2 years ago. So my hangar is one of the first ones, almost done. It's number hangar 244. It's in the D section. So the C, I guess, just got granted their occupancy, and so D is hopefully coming soon. Mine's right in the middle, and it looks almost done. I've been in there multiple times for the last 2 months, but it's supposed to be done like 2 years ago. So I'll just have a little cutout. I have a separate. So if you're familiar with the setup, they have an entrance. There's a ADA accessible bathroom, which is required by the FAA. And then there's a hallway, and then I have a separate entrance that's not associated with my hangar because I am buying a hangar that'll have an entrance into an office space, just a small exam room and a little sitting area, and then a separate bathroom. Because part of the physicals, you have to do urine analysis, and there's some medical equipment in there. And so that's the proposal. I need to get approval from the board to go forward with that. I think you saw some of my pro formas and things. Those are just kind of a overview. Nothing's been signed yet because I can't really sign anything with the lease with Revere, because Revere will actually lease it from me, even though I'll be in there. And so they're the ones that'll be insuring the space for the lease. And so, yeah.
All right.
Any questions? That's kind of a brief overview.
That's fantastic. Anything, questions from the board? Comments? Okay. Prior to this, we had a work session, and Christian assured us that you met all the standards and the code. So with that, do we have a motion to accept this business request from Troy Lunsford?
Motion on that.
All right, motion by Claire Anderson. Second?
I'll second that.
All right, second by Corey Pierce. Those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye. Yes.
All right. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right.
I did have one question. Thanks for approving me, by the way.
Yeah.
The keeper's insurance, when I was talking to the insurance, I thought that was more for if somebody's doing like work on planes, like a mechanic or something, that you had to have keeper's insurance rather than just liability insurance.
Yeah,
that was what.
Yeah,
was
that's
sent.
correct. And I'm happy to have a phone call with you and clarify that.
It doesn't necessarily have to be keepers, but it can be some liability. Okay.
Yep.
Just want to make sure I get the right thing. So, all right. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Item number 3, another business license request from AME Rocky. Is it Jedek?
Jedek, yeah.
Jedek. All right. All right, Rocky. You've seen how it's done.
Hey, nice to meet everyone. Yes, I guess I am Troy's friendly competition. I wasn't aware we were both going to be here at the same time, but also an aviation medical examiner. Long background in the military. I was a flight surgeon in the Air Force, active duty for about 6 years. So pretty much stationed abroad during that entire time, flew in a variety of aircraft, not as a pilot, but as a flight surgeon, which is still an aircrew position. So about 200 hours, 200 sorties in F-16 and a variety of other aircraft. Still in the Colorado Air National Guard, so I go out and I drill there. Also still with an F-16 unit. I've been doing aviation medicine since about 2016 for the FAA. I have a practice up in Salt Lake as well. I'm also a board-certified ER doctor. I did my training at the University of Utah. I'm still on faculty there and do a couple shifts a month there. So we'll be specifically in the FLT Academy building, and so the owner and COO of FLT kind of came to me and asked if I would put a practice in there because kind of wants a little bit of everything there, kind of a full one-stop shop. So we'll be operating from there. It's room 112. So far, I have an entity created, EIN. We haven't signed the lease yet because I wasn't sure when they were going to be fully operational. So we're kind of, waiting to see what they do, but we'll be subletting from them. Also very aware of kind of like what our needs are, what the FAA requires of us. FAA has already approved the location, so they're aware of it and they know. I think that should answer everything. If you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to respond to anything.
Where do you practice in Salt Lake?
Sorry?
Where do you practice in Salt Lake?
It's Central Salt Lake City by like 9th and 9th, the flight medicine clinic. But I also practice at University of Utah and in the ER in that capacity, though. So hopefully I'm not taking care of a pilot there unless they had a really bad day.
Sounds good. And it looks like you're just doing 1 day a week initially, and then
Yeah, I think we'll probably be 1 or 2 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kind of depend on the FLT Academy's needs, and then how busy I am up in the Salt Lake clinic. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from the board? All right. Do we have a motion to accept this request?
I'll make a motion to accept that request.
Thanks, Stacy. All right. Motion by Stacy. A second.
I'll second it.
And second by Brad Miller. Those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Motion carries. Welcome, you guys. I think you guys, there's already someone down there right now, if I recall, right? So you guys will be 3. You guys can arm wrestle, and there you go. All right. On to item number 4. stated the airport rate and budget discussions via through airport board and staff. And we're going to start this out actually with Christian as a survey data. We've received quite a few surveys that recently went out. So, and I've got some guidance. We'll let him kind of provide.
Yeah, this will just be kind of a high-level view. This survey this year was tailored quite a bit around kind of airport fees and changes there. That's kind of the number one item at the airport recently. So here's a look at kind of the results and key takeaways. Few of the first questions were based around what's called a Net Promoter Score. That's on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, are you a detractor or someone that does not promote the airport? Or 10, are you a 100% promoter of the airport? So looking at that, people that answered in the 9 to 10 range, that was 42% of the respondents. Passive promoters, that was 19%, and then people that were 6 or below or detractors of the airport were 38% of that score.
Christian, just real quick, and these surveys were sent to hangar lease owners?
All airport users. We've got
All
a pool
users,
of
okay.
different users. We've got general. It went to everybody that has gate access. All of the hangar owners, all of the tie down owners, and then all of the businesses on the field.
Okay, thank you.
You said it went to 1,300 plus email addresses, right?
Yep, that's correct. There was a couple questions based around the top improvements that users would like to see at the airport. The number 1 response was a control tower. Number 2 was managing flight schools. Number 3 was FBO improvements. Number 4 was landing fee removal or restructuring. And number 5 was taxiway Bravo. A couple questions were based around the airport facility and services. There was the number 1 call was for better transient aircraft parking and tie downs. Number 2 was better maintenance of the weather station, infield leveling, airport lighting, and trash bins or dumpsters around the airport. And the number 3 was FBO improvements. Again, a lot of the questions were based around finances. A lot of the responses came in mentioning financial transparency and communication. The number 1 mention was a desire for a clear long-term financial and airport development plans. Number 2 was frustration over the lack of details on landing fee usage. Number 3, mixed opinions on landing fees. A lot of people called for, flat-out removal of landing fees, and a good portion called for the restructuring of landing fees. And the last was requests for more board outreach and visibility. And lastly, kind of the overall key sentiment themes. Concern about safety due to congestion at the airport. The desire to retain community feel but manage the growth that we're experiencing. A call for equitable fee structure based on usage and impact on the airport. And then there was a lot of comments about appreciation for staff and the board under current limited resources. So for those that took the survey, thank you. For those that have not, please take a look at the latest newsletter. If you don't receive newsletters, let me know. I'm happy to put you on that list, as well as get you a link to the survey this year.
Cool. Thank you,
I
Christian.
should confirm that survey goes through the end of December, right?
Correct. Yep. We'll keep that open until the end of the month.
Okay. All right. With that, like I said, what brought this meeting is we've got our financial year that starts, our fiscal year, financial year starts July 1st, but into that lead up, we need to have a game plan of what we're working towards as an airport, what the city staff is, what funding is or isn't available. And with that, there's just quite a bit of months that kind of lead up into that. So we're starting this discussion now. And we had promised that once landing fees were implemented, that we would actively review them and assess them as they go and see if they're meeting their objective, and then put that into the guidance into our next fiscal year budget. So with that, with the surveys we've received now, and this we had a work session before this, so we went through a lot of this in detail as an airport board, but right now, our airport is not necessarily viewed as favorable as we would wish it would be. It's got a low Net Promoter Score. The significant reason for that, as far as this data, is just the high level of congestion. The frustration to get into the airport, the frustration to get out of the airport, things of that nature. So that does line up with our goals of what we're trying to achieve with an air traffic control tower and with the completion of Taxiway Bravo. With that, those financial responsibilities that the airport will have will, just for those two items, will be in excess of $500,000 over this next very short term that we've got coming our direction, with our 5% match for Taxiway Bravo, and then with the funds that the FAA will require for a tower. And that's just the tip of the iceberg as it goes, especially with the tower. There'll be some additional funding that goes through there. So in a review of our landing fees and what we have collected on that and what we had budgeted, the numbers that have received so far are not necessarily in the most equitable categorization, that we're not maybe hitting the group equally and fairly. So with that, we are still in the need to gather some data on what that does or doesn't mean, and to ensure that we're targeted in our approach for our fees. So that being said, we've challenged or requested Christian to get some additional data, and we'll review this again as we go forward. What it ultimately comes down to is that in all of the areas that the airport generates revenue, so hangar lease rates, tie downs, fuel flowage, these landing fees, everything is being reassessed to ensure that we're targeting the areas we've got. The approach that the airport board is going for is kind of a base plus a use. So meaning that your hangar lease rates, your tie down rates, things of that nature, that there's a base fee that covers as far as our operational needs. That's what it's targeted, so it covers our day-to-day operations. But anything that's required for growth or for financial reserves for the growth, that'll be in excess to that, and that's where the targeted approach to usage. So that's kind of the overview of what our review is. I don't know if there's anything else the board members like to add to bring that to what we're trying to achieve here. But ultimately, and I know this has been brought up heavily in town halls we've got, but we're operating in a deficit. We don't have a good reserve fund that's going through there. So right now the airport has taken out a $500,000 loan to cover some of the needs that the airport has, specifically our airport lighting, and our main parking lot as you come in. But what comes into it is kind of is we have a lot of things that are popping up to maintain the airport, and we don't have the funds to cover them. So that's what we're trying to overcome. So, for example, this $500,000 loan was initially just for our parking lot. That's what the cost is to redo that. But in that, our lighting system is antiquated and can't maintain the usage. So we are in the process of replacing that entire system, and so the funding that was going towards the parking lot is now going towards lighting. And so we're just not in a position right now where we're financially responsible as an airport, and so that's where all these fees are coming into. So
Matt or Christian, I don't know who this is better equated for, but so there's looking through the survey data to this point in a conversation with Christian, there's a lot of things, right, that are needed at the airport. Would it be fair to say that over the next few months, as we get this survey finished, that there might be another survey that kind of says rank what you want to see done first? Or is that already in this current survey? Because as you're talking, right, like there is no way fiscally that we can do all the things all at once. It's just not, we can't. But I would like to know what airport users would like to see done first, or what they think is a priority compared to others, because I might, say, oh, this, I don't even know what to say. Like the parking lot might be my priority, but to everyone else it might be, oh, I want the tower. Like that's what we need tomorrow. because I've heard both of those actually from different people. So I think it might behoove us to have something like that as a follow-up to the survey to just kind of get a better idea after we get some data points. Hey, these are the things that we need to do. Okay, now prioritize those. Tell us what you think needs to be done first. Not that necessarily that's the way that it'll end up, the cookie will crumble, but I think it would be good to just give a voice to prioritizing the different projects.
Yeah, I'd say,
Yeah, we can absolutely do that.
Thanks.
yeah, I'd say go through. From the survey data that has come out, I will say, just by way of information, that right now, the item that is leading the charge for this is by far an air traffic control tower. I mean, they're in first, and it appears that there's a deep second on that. So, in this discussions that we're going back and forth, kind of just away, since most everyone here is an aircraft operator, but if not, you've owned a vehicle or anything of that nature. But right now, a lot of our budget is basically just covering the basic operational cost, of what it costs. So, what it is for putting fuel in it, per flight hour. If you figured out, if you were an airplane owner, that you only figured out what it costs to operate with just fuel, you might be able to put 10, 20 hours on your airplane, but eventually you need additional funding for an oil change or for a starter motor that goes out or for a tire replacement. And that's just what we don't have right now. And so anytime something breaks, it's been kind of a crisis moment at the airport. So we're working with the city. The city's been very responsive and helpful. They've actually done quite a bit of improvements at the airport, specifically with the new development on the north side, but we're still just seeing a shortfall. And what we're seeing is that the operations at the airport is what is causing this need. And so, interestingly enough, with the landing fees that have been implemented so far, we haven't seen any reduction. We at least maybe thought that airports that aren't based here, or aircraft that aren't based here, would maybe choose to not come here, and we're not seeing that at all. So they're still coming here just as much as they did before to do their flight training at our airport. So it is not, the strain is still on the airfield that we need to go through. Anything else from the board? Okay. With that, then we'll do this new style. We can open this item up to any comments. If you do have a comment, we'd ask that you come to the podium, state your name, and if it'd be helpful if you let us know what hangar or aircraft or just what your affiliation to the airport is.
My name is Robert.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Stacey reminded me too, and we'd like to do this at a 3-minute time limit as well.
Understood. My name is Robert Christopherson. I just have a couple of questions. When you're talking about lighting, were you talking about strip lighting or parking lot lighting?
The airfield lighting, like the runway lights.
Okay, runway lights. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that in your definition. How many of you 10 people, are a pilot? Raise your hand. How many of you own an airplane? Is it based here at Spanish?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay, I was just commenting because I've heard a lot of people comment to me about the landing fee question, and they didn't. There has been some. I haven't heard one positive. Just as a reference, everything that I've talked to, everybody that I've talked to has been anti it, and so I'm just passing that on as an FYI.
No, that's definitely some sentiment we have received, but
Have you, out of curiosity, have you considered? For somebody who was passing by or maybe coming through here to land at Spanish on an occasion basis, like maybe once or twice a month or whatever, 4 times a month, forever, that would be like 4 or 5 times free as opposed to a fee each time. Does that make sense?
So yeah, we have reviewed the mindset of a free landing, and our guidance from that from our airport district office with the FAA, they are not. They don't feel that's an equitable approach to how fees are assessed. So
the reason I asked that question is because in order to promote aviation, you don't need to ding the little guy for every nickel and dime that he's trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I'm asking that question about the maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times a month that would be available. I'm not talking about this land at the school that comes over here and shoots, 20 touch and goes. I'm talking about somebody who comes in for breakfast maybe once a month or whatever.
Yeah. No, we appreciate that comment.
Good feedback.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Okay. Any other? Oh, come on up.
Hal Jackson. I have a question about the revenue from sales tax that the airport generates. Does that get returned from the city to the airport?
It does not. No. So that you're talking about like on the tax that was just, or I guess it's coming out in. It was been issued. You're talking about like the yearly for your hangar lease or for your hangar? Is that what you're talking about?
Sales
No,
tax.
I'm talking about sales tax.
Sales tax.
Gordon, do you want to explain how sales tax works in the city? 'Cause I think that's helpful.
What do you mean by sales tax generated by the airport exactly?
Yeah, that's I guess what. Yeah.
Are you talking about tax on fuel or
How many businesses are there on this airport that generate sales tax?
Oh.
I know that the maintenance business, Woodhouse Aviation, charges sales tax on their maintenance work. I believe the fuel sales generate some sales tax. And if the city is not returning those sales tax to the airport, that seems unfair to me.
We have never calculated that amount. This is the first time I've even thought about it. It's something we can calculate, and it's something the city council can decide whether or not they want to do that. There are other competing things for tax dollars we should be aware of, though, such as public safety. Right?
Yeah.
All of our fuel tax is collected by the airport, though. The state collects a fuel flowage tax, and the city collects a fuel flowage tax, and the state and city flowage taxes are returned to the airport.
Okay, so it's just an idea for getting revenue to the airport.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al. All right, any other comments? Okay. We do appreciate the comments, and we will look into both of those for Rob and Hal. With that, then, we'll go on to item number 5. Our next airport board meeting tentative date is February 4th. Oops, sorry, that was the wrong agenda. That was over on this one. That was our work session. Lost it there. There we go. All right. Any other items of concern for the board members? Okay. Or public? Okay. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Motion by Claire
I'll second.
and second by Corey. Those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Adjourned at 4:28. Thank you, everyone, for your time and interest in the airport.
I like it.